What's up, everybody? My name is Alex. I am your host here on the Swole Friends podcast, as well as the co-founder and COO here at Swolverine. Swolverine is an endurance athlete and active lifestyle brand. We have over 31 different performance powders and daily health supplements that are all proprietary blend-free, clinically dosed, and scientifically proven effective. We also offer one-on-one nutrition coaching, training templates, online personal training, and a new competitive service for our CrossFitters out there for your fitness programming. Today, though, get your eyes and ears ready to meet the man behind the Smashwerks Empire, the Spartan leader himself, and the Swole Friends podcast guest, Dr. Trevor Bachmeyer. Today on episode 26, we are building fitness, family, freedom, mindset, and optimizing from top to bottom, straight from the Spartan's mouth. That means digging into also the trials and tribulations that he has faced as an individual. This looks a little like losing a lung, being given less than 9 months to live after being diagnosed with stage 3B Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He then used that fuel on his fire to mold himself into an absolute beast just 12 months later. And shortly thereafter, he found the love of his life, became a father, started 4 different extremely successful companies, and so much more. So the Spartan, Trevor, it's nice to meet you. It's nice to have you on the show. Thank you for making this happen today.
Absolutely, Alex. I'm glad to be here. I'm going to throw a correction in there real quick.
Yeah.
18 years ago is when I was diagnosed with stage 3B non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I met my wife when I had 9 months to live. And then we built this life together and had all kinds of stuff. Yeah, she was locked out of the hospital when they took me into ER and then took me into intensive care. And she thought I was going to die. She was outside hysterical. And that was about 20 months ago now, but over the course of 12 months after coming out of surgeries when we built everything, literally from the ground up.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. And I mean, that's a really big, I think, testament to her as a woman too.
She's a badass.
Say like, hey,
next level fucking badass.
I love it.
Beast. And I mean, if you've seen, I'm so open about how much I love my wife. Like, she is my best friend. And like, when I met her, it was one of these things where, and people call, oh, do you know, like, love is a chemistry. Bullshit. Love is fucking real. And if you find somebody, you just know. And it's that thing that kind of clicks. And I knew, like, I was in love with her my whole life. And I didn't know that until I saw her. And about an hour later, we're on this date sitting at this restaurant in California. And I'm like, fuck, I got to tell this woman that they gave me 9 months to live, and I'm in love with her. And I'm like, and I'm arguing with myself. I'm having this dialogue in my own head going, you can't be in love with this. You just met her. This is bullshit. There's no way. And yet at the same time, I'm like, but you are, Trev. You are. And there's a backstory here, and I'll tell you in a second. But I sat across the table. I'm like, I got to tell her. I can't be that dick that we get involved and we really take this far, and then I die. And at the end, I'm going, I fucking knew. Like, what a shitbag I would be. I'm like, I can't do that to a human being. I can't, because that's a really selfish thing to do. And 95% of the people out there would go, oh, I would have done that. Like, you're a fucking dick. Don't do that. And it's the truth. People make these selfish decisions predicated on what they want, not what is going to be best for everybody in the long run. And I think that costs them in the long run anyway. And so I went, hey, listen, I got to tell you something. And she says, is it about cancer? And I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. And she says, I go, how did you know? And she says, well, people at the gym were talking. They said, you're not doing so well. They've seen you like coughing up blood and really sick and all this. And I'm like, yeah. I said, Brandy, I got to let you know. They didn't give me a lot of time. They gave me less than 9 months. She didn't miss a beat, Alex. Like, I mean, like this. She goes, I don't care. She goes, if I get 2 years or 2 minutes or 2 months, she goes, I don't care. She goes, I'm in it. And I'm like, I started crying. And I'm like, what the fuck? 3 months later, we were engaged. 3 months after that, we were married. 7 months after that, we had our daughter. All things they said would never happen. That was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But 2 days before that, so I blew $1 million in 3 months when I found out I had cancer.
Oh,
I literally just went like, the crazy thing is you wouldn't believe how many friends you have when you start spending money, right?
Oh my God.
Everybody's your fucking buddy. They're like, Trev's the best. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker. Of course I am, because I'm lighting you up with
I'm just dying.
cash, man. So, and I would just literally burn paper nonstop, because I went, fuck it. What am I going to do? I got nobody. I'm by myself. I built a bunch of money. What the hell? I'm not going to take it with me. Fuck it. I'm going to go out with a bang. And then towards the end, I started going, holy shit, what if I make it? Well, by then it was too late, because I had nothing. I was broke. I mean, flat fucking broke. And I'm in this apartment looking out my sliding door. And I was mad. God, Alex, I was so bitter. I was such a fucking angry man. I hated my parents. I hated God. I hated I'm just bitter. Like, I was like, why the fuck is some serial killer going to live to be 95 and I'm in my 30s and they give me 9 months? I'm like, no way. This is bullshit. And I didn't even eat sugar. Like, I had broccoli and chicken and rice in my refrigerator. Like, I didn't smoke, did nothing. Mm-hmm. I didn't drink, zero.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and so I'm trying to rationalize why me. Well, that's this victimization that's going on right now. Like, they glorify being a victim now, right? Oh yeah. And then they demand that you feel sorry for them. So that's like me going, fuck all that. Mm-hmm. Well, I sat in my apartment and I looked out. I still remember it like clear as a day. And I went, I remember my dad was a preacher, and I was telling my dad, I'm like, God's out to get me. He's just trying to fucking hurt me. And my dad's like, God doesn't work like that, man. That's not how it works. Mm-hmm. And I go, I don't care. That's what he's doing. Yeah. And I looked up and I said, God, I said, you better give me a fucking reason to be here, because I'm going to do it myself. I'm not going to let you win, because I thought he was trying to kill me. And then I turned it around and I was just going to end it. And I fell asleep bawling my eyes out on my floor. 2 days later, I met Brandy.
Wow.
And yeah. It literally went like this after that. And whether somebody believes in God or miracles or whatever, I don't really care. I do. So that's all that matters. And I've had so many instances like that happen, all because I changed what I was thinking, mm-hmm. which became my life. You know, like that happened in the hospital too. There's all kinds of stuff that I could go on and on about, but hit me with questions if you got some.
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, and it's you're a very deep person, you're deep waters, but you're also very transparent, you know, and a lot of times, you know, I guess I'll back up a step. I like to have people on here that have become our friends or our colleagues or partners in the industry over the last 7 years, right? But at the same time, like a guest like you, I'm just like, dude, we got to have this guy on. He's got a shit ton of knowledge in that big brain of his, and we got to figure it out and bring it on. But that also means that I don't know shit about you. Yeah. And that's just like, and, you know, and it's one of those things where in gathering a lot of this information for the show, just so that I could be kind of equipped for it, there is this little theme that kept like knocking me in the head. And it's that was gathered from the content that you put out. And it's not a lot of people are given the opportunity, but everyone is given a choice, and that choice is theirs, but there's a loan to make. And so that's where, you know, you talk about this, like we can have anger and resentment. We can have like all this bullshit that we face in life, but ultimately that choice is yours. Right. So how did you, let's take 2 steps back. How did you get to $1 million? You are a physician. Give me some of your credentialing. I mean, I know we talked about titles not being very important, but let's give some of the backstory to how you've become such a successful person.
Sure. And I mean, here's what's great. I make more in a month now mm-hmm. than I ever made in a year as a doctor.
Yeah.
By far, not even a little bit. And I do it all from here.
Yeah.
Well, like our team, like right now, people are working. People are doing things right now on my team. Mm-hmm. And that's how it should be, right? Because I was spending so much time, like I was in California. So I would get up at 4:30. It's commuter state, right? So I would get up at 4:30 in the morning and I would drive to my clinic, brick and mortar building. I'm 50. So I was raised thinking brick and mortar was how you make money. You got to have a building, You got to have a door to walk through. You got to have a little open sign, right? That's not true. In fact, that's the most limiting fucking thing you can do, because all you can do is see the people that are in your neighborhood. I can reach 8 billion people on this thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it took me a while to figure that out, because I'm old enough to say I was around before the internet. So, which is wild when people hear that. They're like, my kids have no idea what a cassette tape is. They even look at CDs and they're like, what are those? I'm like, I'm not even going to get into this.
Frisbees.
Yeah, fuck, forget it. Like, it's not even worth the explanation. Go back to your streaming. But but what I did, and then I wouldn't get home until 7:30 at night. So I never saw my wife. I never saw my kids. And it was a struggle because I felt very separate from my own family. But at the same time, I had this vision in my head where I'm going, like, I came from nothing. Like, my parents had no money. I lived in my car for 4 months. Like, I know what it's like to be flat fucking broke. And I used to sneak into the gym to take showers. I'd steal a toothbrush. I'd go steal groceries. I'm not proud of any of it, but I had to do it. Like, I was going to die if I didn't. Mm-hmm. And so I finally went, I can't do this life anymore. But the biggest pivot was when everything started getting shut down from that issue that happened a little while ago. I won't say it so you don't get banned. Who knows what the fuck they're doing. But it changed a lot of how I looked at things because it forced a lot of people to go online. And I had an online company already. I just didn't stand on the gas.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I went to med school. I became I went through sports med, trauma surgery, and then I went chiro, PT, and I did all that because I just couldn't, as an MD, I was seeing a lot of man's inhumanity to man, right? And I was basically a legal drug pusher. And people would come in and my thumb hurts. Can I have 200 Vicodin? I'm like, my dad would be like, rub some fucking dirt on it.
You could pull it out of your ass. And
yeah, like exactly. Like just quit being a bitch, and yet it's weird because soft doesn't sit well with me. I don't do well with that. Mm-hmm. But my kids are tough. My wife is tough. But at the same time, like we're loving people. We just don't have this switch where it's like, oh my God, poor me. I need to stop and take a break for 3 days because I stubbed my fucking toe, and that's how a lot of people are now. So it's kind of this mindset that changed for me. But I mean, I came out, I worked in a hospital and I basically told everybody to take these drugs. And I'm like, I can't do this. And I was getting headaches and migraines and I felt like a bag of shit. And I had these on-call days. And I finally was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And one of my interns said, you should go see my chiropractor. And I was like, I don't know about these guys, man. These guys are going to break my fucking neck. And I have a story about chiro as well. They're a little fanatical, a lot of those guys. They get a little twitchy. So that's just my opinion. So if I'm offending chiropractors, I don't fucking care. So it's true. I just don't. Like, you guys are fucking religious about your shit. Knock it off. You need antibiotics. Period. Right? But like, it's weird. Oh, you got strep throat? Here, let me adjust your neck. Fuck, you need amoxicillin. Dumbass. So, because when I was in the hospital, I didn't want anybody adjusting me. I needed a surgeon.
Yeah.
Otherwise I would have died. Yeah. Right? So I wound up going to chiro college because I went to this chiropractor and I was like, holy shit, like I feel pretty good. And I didn't like the Western medicine model anyway. Mm-hmm. Well, that meant I had to create my own business. Well, that was something they didn't teach you. Because you come out and you're like, you get your degree and then go, great, now I'm going to make money. No. First month I made $600 and my bills were $9,000. And I went, what the fuck am I doing? Mm-hmm. Okay. You want it like this? All right. And I learned everything I could about how to market myself and build a brand. Mm-hmm. Instead of just becoming a business, I went, nope, I'm going to build a brand. And that year I told everybody, I made it a statement. I'm going to make $1 million this year. Yeah, sure you are, Trev. You'll make 30 grand. I made $1 million that first year. I sold myself, my time. Like I literally ate shit. And I thought, well, if I'm going to eat shit, I'm going to take a big ass bite. Mm. So I just went in on myself. And then from that point on, I realized I can do this. I can do this all day. Mm-hmm. Because even for money's sake, like I tell people, become a millionaire, but not for the money. I don't give a fuck about the money. For who it makes of you as a person. You cannot be the same person. Like even in my coaching company, like we have a Spartan business coaching program. It's a year long. And I always tell people, I go, listen, I'll get you to $1 million if you do the work. I cannot handhold you. If you don't want to listen, that's on you. If you blame the program, again, on you, because you didn't do the fucking work. 99% is not 100. You go all in or don't bother. But the point is you have to stop thinking about making $100,000 a year, because $100,000 a year, you can trade time for money. $1 million a year, you cannot. You have to be able to scale. Otherwise, you're never going to hit it. You're going to work 20-hour days and burn the fuck out, hate what you're doing, and just wind up losing your shit. So it taught me a lot about business. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I started just stacking paper and I was living this great life, living pretty large, having fun. And then I got sick and cancer decided to give me a challenge. And I didn't know what to do. So I gave up.
How did you find out like your diagnosis? I mean,
So I was a typical doctor, the worst patient, right? And so I had a flu for probably 3 to 4 months. Oh. Yeah, it's exactly. And I went to a friend of mine who was a doctor.
About time to go to the doctor.
Yeah. And I said, hey, can you check me out? Now, the weird laws, basically, like an oncologist can tell you have cancer, but a general practitioner cannot, right? So it's just these weird fucked up laws. And so I went in and she goes, you need to go to get checked out. And I was like, why? And it felt different. It hit a lot different. And it made me nervous. And it takes a lot to rattle me. And I'm like, fuck, something's not right. And so I went in, and sure enough, cancer, it wound up being really bad. It was everywhere. And it explained why I was feeling like shit. And I literally, the second, Alex, I found out, I went downhill, because you start to accept it. And the sketchy part is that when you start to believe in something, you create a much worse reality for yourself, right? Because it's so negative. And then you just see negativity everywhere. Like if I said, don't think of like a green Lamborghini, the first thing you're going to think of is a green Lamborghini, because you're telling yourself not to do it. The brain doesn't recognize negativity. So it just says, okay. Well, I started thinking about like, don't think about cancer. Fuck, that's all I thought about. So I went to go do chemo, worst thing you can ever do. I will go on video all day long and saying modern medicine for cancer is a fucking ridiculous nightmare. They lie. They burn you, they slice you, they poison you. They have not changed the treatment ever. They just rename this the way they do it. And people go, oh, my uncle was saved. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. They were lucky. It's the only time I can say that. Because your body has cancer all of the time anyway. It's just a cell that hasn't turned off, and your body just gets rid of it all the time. That's why when people say we got to cure cancer, you can't. You will eradicate fucking humanity. It's like curing negativity. You cannot have positivity without negativity. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Right. So when I went through chemo, all of a sudden it trashes all your cells, not just good cells or bad cells, but good ones as well. Well, now your body's turning over 7 to 8 billion cells a day instead of 1 billion a day. Well, your rate of mutation goes up. You wind up getting more cancer, which is how I got cancer the second time.
The second time? I didn't find that.
I've gone through it 4 times. So the second time, it was chemotherapeutic induced cancer. That's what they called it. And I said, let me get this straight. You have a name for this fucking thing that you guys cause because you lie to people and tell them that what you're giving them is going to save them. I wound up getting so bad, Alex, that I was probably 155, 160 pounds, walked with a cane, covered in bruises. I was sick all the time. My wife was pregnant when I was going through chemo. And she would watch me puke in a Homer's bucket, and I'd watch reruns of Friends nonstop because I didn't want to put anything negative in my head. So I'd watch Friends all the time. And I walked in and I said, if I was your son, to the doctor, I remember this, would you do this? And he says, yeah, absolutely. It's the latest. I was doing what's called the CHOP series of chemotherapy. And I remember watching like Vincristine, this chemical. It's like red syrup going in my veins. It's like 4 hours. It was just brutal.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. And I go, look at me. And I bang my cane on the floor. And I go, fucking look at me. Look at me. Like I'm dying. What you're doing to me is not fucking working. And he stopped. He got all teary-eyed. And he said, no, I wouldn't. And I stuck my hand out and I shook his hand. And I said, this is the last time you're going to see me. Thanks for being honest. And I left. And then I went, now what the fuck do I do?
Right?
Because it was my lifeline.
Yeah, you got at that conclusion, and then you're like, you walk out of the door and you're like, fuck, what do I do now?
Yeah, it was my lifeline, but it was a bad one. It's like I'm drowning and you're like, Trev, I got you. Here's a bag of bricks. Right? Well, fuck, I'm going right to the bottom, but it was the only thing I know. So I'm like, well, I fucking hang on to the bricks, right? So it's the same thing. And so I went, okay. So I took out everything negative in my life. People go, how did you beat cancer? I go, I never had it. And they're like, what? I go, I never once said I have it. I never once said it. I won't. I'm not going to own something I don't want. Fuck that. And it starts with that. And people go, I don't know about the belief thing. My answer is always the same. Somebody just reposted what I said because I say this all the time. You don't buy into the power of your belief? That's on you. But then that case, go home right now. Look yourself in the eyes in the fucking mirror. Tell yourself you're going to die of a terminal disease every fucking day for 30 days. You know what they're going to do? Why would I do that? Yeah, quit being a bitch. If it works on one side, it works on the other side. Grow the fuck up. Right? And yet they go, well, it's different. No, it's not. It's just like insults. Everybody believes something when it's a compliment, but when it's an insult, that's not true. Get out of here, man. You have got to learn how to filter shit in and out of your brain. We have passwords on our phone, on our computers, on our iPads, but we don't have one on our brain, so we let everybody have access. And then we wonder why our life is so shitty because we wake up and we shit talk ourselves and then spend the rest of the day desperately seeking acceptance from motherfuckers who want less from us. They don't want you to win.
No.
They want you to lose because if you win, it forces them to look at their own life and hate where they are. But yet they won't tell you that. They wrap it up in concern. Oh, we just want what's best for you. No, motherfucker. You want what's best for you. Because if I start getting fit and you're a fat tub of shit and you're all pasty and you look in the mirror and you're shaped like a circle, that's on you. You made that. Do not ever blame the American diet or the cereal or all the additives in food. You have free will, motherfucker. Don't tell me you can't change. The easiest thing you can do is control your fucking pie hole. Watch. Don't eat it. Like, I never get it when people are like, you don't understand. I don't have a choice. Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. You're following the hypnosis of social conditioning and it's screwing up your life. Change your thinking. So I changed my thinking. I refused to eat anything that I didn't actually see get grown. I didn't eat anything from a restaurant ever. I went through 2 Jack LaLanne power juicers. It's hilarious because I would juice everything. Literally anything. I even tried to juice a banana. Like, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't work, just so you know. Totally useless. Can't
I haven't done that.
Yeah, don't bother. And when you juice broccoli, it makes your house smell like shit, so don't do that either. It's just wrong. Like, if you have somebody come over, you're like, sorry.
So foul.
Yeah, it's so foul. You're like, did you? No, it wasn't me. It's the broccoli. And they're like,
dogs with diarrhea, I swear.
Yeah, they're like, dude, you're lying. You're like, oh, fuck. I just accept it. Yeah, it was me. Never mind.
But right. You should leave. You're right.
But I went through them because I thought I'm going to get as much as I can. And of course, there's all these schools of thought. Like, the world has far too many choices, like nestled in ambiguity. They don't really have any substance. They're these nebulous bro science facts that people throw. You see them all the time. I guarantee it. And they come out with all of this stuff and they're like, yeah, this is fact. This is fact. You got to do keto. You got to do carnivore. You got to do vegan. Listen, you know what the diet is that works? The one you stick to. You know what the training system that works is? The one you stick to. But people bounce from program to program because they didn't get it in 90 days. Yeah. But 90 days isn't long enough to undo 20 years of bad fucking decisions. And yet they're like, well, I'm not getting jacked. I'm not a millionaire in 90 days. The program sucks. Those people, I don't know if they get it, but all they do is put new cars in people's garages because they keep going from program to program for 20 years. I had a client like that. He literally went from, God, Alex, he's probably been through so many programs, and I watched him just join another one, and he's just going to keep fucking failing. And I'm like, dude, those are the same people that only read the first chapter of a book and then placate themselves, going, well, I got it now. Dude, finish the book. Yeah. Like, finish the book. Finish what you're doing. Complete incompletion. And yet that's where, it's what I say. People go, how do you do it? I was just hanging out with Andy this weekend, and one of his guys go, how do you do it, Trev? Like, how do you fucking stack so many wins? I go, because I outdo yesterday and I never miss. Ever. I never fucking miss. And everybody says, oh, come on. And behind the scenes, oh yeah, of course he misses. No, I don't. Because I'm not going to say I'm going to do it. And that's why yesterday bothered the fuck out of me. I was just fucking lit about that because I'm like, fuck, I don't do that. So that's why this is awesome. Like, I love that you sent the email. So bad. Like, you're just a badass son of a bitch. I love that.
I sent a lot of Facebook messages. I think I reached out on Twitter. For anyone listening and who doesn't know what happened yesterday, we just had a little schedule mishap.
Yeah, you are a killer. And I love that because that's how people should, but that's how you're designed. No. You're not, humans are the only creatures on the planet that are given free will, and we choose to be less. How the fuck can you go through your lives? Like, we were going on date night one night, my wife and I, we're literally driving 1.5 miles down the road to the harbor. And I'm like, fuck. And I got so much static for people going, this is what they focused on, not what I said. You know, you really shouldn't be filming while you're driving. That's what you got from what I fucking said? Holy shit, your priorities are fucked. You know, so I basically held my phone and I said, if you look in the mirror and you are 80 pounds overweight, and then you look at your wife, and you think that you are taking care of her, you selfish motherfucker, you are not. You are taking care of you and validating that you can't do anything about it, but you'll do it one day. Are you shitting me? I could never look in the mirror and go, I created that broke ass dude. I created that fat guy. I created that guy that has such a bad mindset that all he does is wake up and start shit talking himself. You know, like, I have the same routine every morning: 50 pull-ups, 100 air squats, 50 push-ups, 100 bicycles. And I post it every day. And I had somebody ask me, like, so do you really do that every day? If you watch the video, I'm wearing different shorts. Half the time I'm not wearing shoes, or I have different shoes. Like, how the fuck are you kidding? I'm in a different location. Yeah, I just filmed 2 or 3 reps of each one, and I just keep cycling through it with AI. Yeah, motherfucker, I do it, but it's not. And people go, "That's your workout?" No, that doesn't. I don't. That's not a workout at all.
That's my morning routine.
That is. You just said it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my morning routine because it's a win. I wake up. I start. People go, "How do you handle adversity?" Easy. I win.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I walk around like my buddy Bradley, right? He goes, I win all the time. I do what I say. I outwork yesterday. That's why I walk around like I got a 10-footer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, fuck, like you get up and you do what you say. And that's where people screw up. I mean, I only have 5 rules in my life. Rule number 3, do what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you say.
Yeah. That's going to be the next thing I was going to bring up is like, you do have 5 rules of your life. So can you walk us through those 5 rules?
Sure. The rule number 1 is like, honestly, do the work. Do the fucking work. You know, because of your company, how few people really want to do the work. Like you're jacked as fuck. I'm sure everybody that works with you is jacked as fuck, but there's that's how you're designed.
Mm-hmm.
Find me an animal anywhere in the world. Wild, not domestic. Domestic animals, fat sons of bitches. True, right? True. You'll find a fat dog, a fat cat. You'll never see a fat lion or a fat wolf. You know, there's always going to be these weak extremes. Well, what about hippos? Yeah, tangle with one. Let me know how that works for you.
Those things are scary, man.
Fuck that. We went on a safari, and that's the first thing the guy said. He goes, "These are the most dangerous animals in the world." I'm like, "Hippo?" He goes, "Dude, it will kill you." And I'm like, "Yeah." And then he starts talking about why. I'm like, "Holy shit, yeah, I'm out."
Mm-hmm.
You know. And of course, he proceeds to tell us why we're standing so far, because they throw their shit at you with their tail.
Yeah, like.
I'm like, "Oh fuck, this is literally the nastiest animal on the planet, right?"
The broccoli animal.
Right? But still muscle, right? So, but number 1 is do the work, right? Do the fucking work. And people struggle with that, right? They struggle with that. Number 2 is you're going to die. You're going to die. You're not getting out of this alive. And yet right now, like if somebody was really nervous about getting on this podcast, let's say with you, and they're like, "I don't know, I'm not ready. Let me get ready." You're going to die. What are you afraid of? And why are you giving a fuck about the opinions of other people? That's the weirdest thing is people will go to their grave and the number 1 regret is always the same. I regret not living the life I wanted to live based on the opinions of others. Mm-hmm. Why would you do that? I'm going to max the shit out of this life, Alex. And it took me almost dying to really hit the gas. I ran at 95% until I went into the hospital.
Yeah.
After that, I realized you are exposed to yourself. You're introduced to yourself in times of adversity and times of success. You are the same person. Mm-hmm. If you're an asshole without money, you're going to be an asshole with money. If you're an asshole with great health, you're going to be an asshole sick. Mm-hmm. And it's just the way it works. But you're going to die. Why are you waiting? People, like, everything loves speed, right? Success loves speed. You know, your life loves, the faster you do it, the faster you fail. The faster you fail, the faster you get up and do it again. Mm-hmm. Like, thanks, Emma. So it's one of those things where it's like you have to go, if I'm going to look at my life and I'm going to do it later. Why? Why are you going to wait? Because inside, I already know why you're doing it, because you think somebody else is going to judge you, but you're afraid of the opinions of others based on what? Mm-hmm. Nothing. Your own perception of what they're going to say about you, but yet they're going to talk about you anyway. Number 1. Number 2 is they're going to talk about you a lot less than you think. Everybody talks about themselves. Yeah. They all listen to the same fucking radio station. It's all about them. They don't care about you. You're not that important. Nobody gives a fuck about me. I give a fuck about me. Mm-hmm. Right? And you have to look at your life that way. If you want to get anywhere, that's the first thing you do. But people get stuck in their life and they go, I'm stuck with, I can't hit my goals. I get this all the time. We have a fitness coaching company as well, right? And it's always a year. People go, well, can I try it for a month? Yeah, it's a year. Yeah, but what if I want to do a monthly plan? You can. You're going to pay for the year, the first month, and then you can come and go as you please. But it's a year. Because it took me a year to go from a wheelchair to where I am now. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, it's a year, 12 months, because I already know, I guarantee you I am way more intense and devoted than you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it in a year, which means I'm going to stand on your throat for that whole fucking year. But that's one of the things I always say is I go, listen, if you're not hitting your goals, there's only one of two reasons: change your goals or change your behavior. That's it. Change your goals or change your behavior. And one of them's got to change. And if you look at yourself and you go, yeah, but Trev, I don't really, like every Saturday I do a live coach call for an hour and I just lay it out and I solve problems and I help people have a better life. And I go through everything. It is always the same. Zoom call with like hundreds of fucking people on it all the time. Because I'm like, I want you to win. That's why I built this company, because I'm going to build the most badass, lethal like just a fucking group of killers that do nothing but make the most money, are the most fit, jacked motherfuckers in the world, have the best marriages, the best businesses, and live the shit out of life. That's all I want people to do. I'm building the 1%. That's what I do. And because people always go, well, what's your coaching company? 1%. That's what I turn you into. If you're not there, I'll help you get there. Yeah. You just got to listen to what I say. Mm-hmm. But that's it. If you're not getting where you want to go, change your goals or change your behavior. And most people look at their behavior and go, oh, I don't know if I can do that though. So they discount their goals to meet their low ambition. And then they validate, well, I'm doing better than Susie down the street. I'm doing better than Alan over there. Mm-hmm. What the fuck do you give a shit about Alan or Susie for though? Are you doing better than you can? Because you're not. Mm-hmm. You should always be leveling up every day. Because people go, no, I'm happy where I am. No, you're not. Well, not everybody needs to be jacked. Yeah, you do. It's not meant to be arrogant. People go, oh, come on, dude. You know what you see when you see someone fit? Like I'm looking at you going, she works out. She takes care of herself. She knows what the fuck is going on with her body. And she makes sure she's always crushing it when she's up. That's life. Mm-hmm. But I can do that without I've never seen you train once. I don't know how the fuck you train. It doesn't matter because I can look at you and I can see all the hard work. Mm-hmm. When someone walks in, the world is so conditioned now that they go, oh yeah, look at this, another alpha douche bro or some crazy jacked fucking woman who's all sauced out or whatever the fuck they come up with. And I'm like, that's what you see. Yeah. Because you're so weak. Because you have to validate why you're a fat, pasty fuck every time you look in the mirror. I have no sympathy for that. None. Mm-hmm. None. You made that. If your kids are fat, you allowed that to happen. Holy shit. If your spouse is fat, you're supporting that instead of going, I love you enough to go, I'm going to stand on you and help you get there. There's no such thing as, I said it yesterday, there's no such thing as fat shaming because no fit person says that. It's all said by people that are overweight and don't want to do anything about it. So it gives them the excuse to go, you're poking fun at me. Is there broke shaming? Is there marriage shaming? No. Why is there fat shaming? You see what I mean? Like it's such a bullshit thing. It's the lowest levels yelling at the ones who are crushing it and going, you're making me feel bad. For what, my success? Mm-hmm. Do the work. You're going to die. You're going to fucking die. That's like rule number 3 is, you know what? Do what you say. There's so much power in that because the more you do what you say, the more credibility you build in yourself. The more credibility you build in yourself, the more self-worth you have. The more self-worth you have, the more confidence you get, the more you try a bunch of new shit. Yeah. It just acts on itself. That's how I build wins. Mm-hmm. If I get up every morning, like I said, my routine, same routine every day, same time every day, I already know I'm going to win because I stack about 5 before that and about 10 after that, always the same. So if unpredictable events occur, which they will, I don't look at them and go, holy shit, I'm crippled by failure. I look at it and go, I already got a bunch of wins. I know it's going to work out. Let me just figure out how now.
Well, it's kind of like that idea too of like the cancer thing, right? Like look in the mirror and tell yourself you're going to die in 30 days, right?
Nobody's going to do it.
No, but we can go into the procrastination cycle just as much as we can go into the win cycle, right? And in that procrastination cycle, or like I call it the negative snowball, a little softer, but it's like you have that feeling of like, okay, you don't make a decision, you push it off, then you get into the guilt and shame bullshit, and then you're like beat yourself up, and then you go to try to do it and you have less confidence. So then you don't do it. And then it's just this like tumbling cycle of bullshit that's like inside of you. And of course you don't want to do it. Of course you don't want to face it. That's the story and the narrative that you're telling yourself. And what you're saying is like, it's the exact same for the positive aspect of it.
Yeah. You are the one that's in control of that. Right. And I think the dialogue, people don't understand the power of the dialogue they have in their own head. And most of the time, like we have about 60,000 thoughts a day. That's not what's the problem. The problem is, and what's very disconcerting is that most of those thoughts are the same thoughts we had yesterday. Mm-hmm. And most of those ones we had yesterday were negative. Like I laid awake one night till about 2:30 in the morning, controlling my own visualization. And I actually said it on one of my coach calls. And I said, listen, it took me forever because I was visualizing driving in the car with my wife down our driveway into the house we're building, exactly walking through the door. And I kept getting fucking distracted. It took me about 3 hours to literally get it under control. And that's when I realized, and I wasn't tired. I wasn't anything. I was just like, I'm going to nail this motherfucker. And it took me that long to do it because that's how much distraction and noise runs in your head.
Yeah.
Because we cover pain with distraction, and then the universe goes, let me help you out. I'm going to turn up the noise on all the pain, because pain is the universe going, you asked for it. You said you want a better life. Here are all the problems. Solve those. What you want is on the other side of all that. Everything you want is on the other side of the work and the struggle that's being presented to you. It's the test. But people don't like the test, but they want the results. You know, they want the trophy, but they're never showing up to fucking practice. You're never going to get it. Never going to get it.
Well, and then they sit there and say, like, why did I fucking fail? It's like, well, because you can't beat yourself up for failing. You didn't try. You didn't to figure out what was on the test in the first place.
Put their toe in the water, right? And a lot of people, they put 80%, 90, even like I said, I was 95% before I went in the hospital. But that's 5% that I'm running a dialogue in my head that is not where I want to go. But that's why relationships and marriages tend to fail, is because they go 80% in on the person, but they run a dialogue of 20% in their head of what they can't tell, they can't share, the secrets they have, the things they're thinking. They don't share that. Well, you cannot get something if you're not all the way in. It is impossible. So you wonder why you fail. Motherfucker, you're telling yourself to fail. Because you're like, I'm just going to do this to play safe. If you look at your life and you go, where are all the areas I'm struggling? I guarantee you it's where you're missing and where you're playing safe, which is rule 4. Take risks. Risk taking is security making. Like, you have to. That's right. That's right, Anna. Like, that's it. When you go, I want to level up. Like, I made a post and I said, I asked to have my lung removed. People went fucking ballistic. They're like, how can you say that? How can you say that you asked for cancer? Because I aimed that big. Because I want my life to be so big. And so, like, I shit you not, we are going to build the biggest coaching company in the world. And we're growing so fast right now. Because that's what I want to do. Because I want to help people just become the best version of themselves, and nobody's doing it. Everybody's doing it and going, yeah, I'll help you. Here's this cookie cutter. Give me your money. I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to stand on you every week until you get there. And you're not going to like me very much at the beginning. That's what a coach is. My wife was a pro soccer player. She is such a badass athlete. Holy shit, Alex. She is the craziest athlete. Like 5'2", $115, $118, squats 225 for reps. No problem. And I'm like, and she's 43. I know dudes that can't do that. But she never quits. But she's never quit on me. I'm never going to quit on her. She's my best friend. I love the fuck out of my wife. Like, she's such a badass human being. And it took us quite a while to get to that point because we were always playing safe. You know what that does? Fucks up everything. Business, relationships, money, everything. Screws at your health. I'm going to go in the gym. I'm going to try this workout. No, I'm going to go try this workout. Dude, that's why you're fucking screwing up. That's why you hate it. Because you're testing it. All in or not in at all. There's only 2 options, right? And I think that's the struggle for so many, is they're afraid to go all in because they're afraid of the hate they're going to get from everybody else. Fuck everyone else.
Or the narrative that they've adopted, right? Like the narrative that says that what everybody else says about them. And then they're like, oh, that's my own inner voice. Well, is it though? Like, have you actually stopped and asked yourself, is that your own fucking voice? Or is that just something that you're really good at listening to? And now you're like a bird and are sitting there like cuckooing it back.
Parrot everything out. You just parrot everything out, right? You get this, people look externally to cure an internal problem, but internal problems, it's like manufactured demons have no fucking cure. You made it. You made it. And that's always the question I ask our high-level coaching clients. I go, who the fuck were you before somebody told you who you should be? Who were you? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I get some people like, oh, that's really cringy. First of all, dumbest fucking word ever. Okay? Second of all, usually the people that say things like that are little rubber people that don't shave yet, still living in their mom's basement, heating up Hot Pockets, taking pictures of Lambos.
Rubber people.
Right? Like, you're not getting anywhere. If you want to get somewhere, you make the decision and then you never ever stop until you get there. It's 100% guaranteed recipe for success. You know, which comes to like rule 5. I actually have 6, but the 6th one is never miss, which applies to the other 5. Rule 5 is get vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable. If you are in an intimate relationship with another fucking human being, be vulnerable. Give them all of the weapons. I mean, every nuclear fucking razor blade psycho weapon that you can give them to absolutely and utterly obliterate you, knowing they're not going to do it. Because if you're not willing to do that for them, do not expect them to do that for you. And that's usually what happens. They're like, oh, but they're not, I'll do it when they do. They're never going to do it because you're being a bitch. Men are not men. They're soft. They're boys. They're being these little beta fucking cucks everywhere going around like, oh, I just want to be loved and accepted. And then they scroll through Instagram for 15 hours seeking validation through hearts and follows. Mm-hmm. How does that give you worth? You know, like everything you do is what gives you worth. Mm-hmm. Everything you see is what takes it away. Because we look at it and go, that's my value. No, that's your perception. And you're getting around the wrong people. Like we all know the rule of your circle. If you have a circle of 5 weak, low level, low frequency people, and you're hanging around with them, you are going to be the 6th. I don't even allow people like that in my environment anymore. And people go, dude, that's really shallow. No, that's the opposite. Because I cannot be the best version of myself if I'm hanging around with people who want less from me because they're so weak in themselves. Mm-hmm. And then the weak ones go, well, isn't it your job to help them? Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe 100% it is my duty to teach everybody I come across anything I know that I'm doing better than they are, just like it is theirs. That's how the human race gets better. But that's why the world is hurting so bad right now, because nobody's doing that. Everybody's looking at everybody with a knife going, how do I stick them once because I'm so hurt myself? But hurt people hurt people. Successful people don't hurt people. They don't. You're never going to find a successful person sliding into your DMs, shit talking you, ever. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because they're too busy putting points on the board. You know, they're too busy winning.
Mm-hmm. But I think too, like facing their resiliency, like facing their adversities to become resilient, right? Like a lot of times it's like, huh, what?
Yeah, you can build yourself into such a savage, tough motherfucker just by facing your struggles. Like the struggles I've had, anything that, like, there's nothing more badass than a person that you know that everything that is sent to break them fucking made them stronger. Mm-hmm. And I live by that every day. Like I have so much video footage of me working out with an oxygen machine, mm-hmm. and I am skinny. Like I am 153 pounds when I came home from the hospital. I left in a wheelchair on oxygen, and they're like, you're never going to run. You're never going to be physically fit. You're never going to be able to do anything. And 20 minutes after thoracic surgery, the doctor took a knee, and he goes, the surgery went well. It was 45 minutes longer than it should have been. Mm-hmm. On the other side of that equation, my wife was outside waiting for me to finish, and they were like, she'd get text messages. It was a fucking robot that did the surgery. Ooh. I shit you not. 6 arms inside me. I remember I said to the lady, I go, 4 arms? She goes, no, 6. I'm like, holy shit. And the guy had like an Xbox joystick about 10 feet away, right? It was the most crazy fucking thing I've ever seen. Wow. And I saw it dangling from the ceiling later. I'm like, that is some Star Trek shit right there. But I guess they nicked my aorta. Oh my God. While they were doing surgery, and it dumped a liter of blood like this. Yeah. Now, here's where I know that miracles exist. Mm-hmm. A whole host of them. Because the surgeon could have gone, we can't save him. And that would have been it. I would have never known. I kissed my wife before I went into the surgery because I didn't know what was going on. I handed her my phone and I said, no matter what, you film everything. Mm-hmm. And that could have worked out really bad for me, right? But I said, no matter what, you film everything. So she's got me high as a fucking kite back in recovery. And I'm just spazzy. Like, I don't remember any of it. Mm-hmm. But I do know the doctor took a knee, and it's on video. And he goes, the surgery went well. He goes, we had to take out your left lung. And on video, there's me going, did you give me a new one? Right? And he's like, no. And because I was so high, like I didn't know. Those. No. But yeah, it's like, not yet, right? Mm-hmm. But I said, okay, get me out of this bed. Still all loopy from anesthesia. Like I kept falling asleep and waking up, right? Because it's still getting out of your system. Mm-hmm. And the nurse in there goes, no. You just had thoracic surgery. You have to adjust to a new life. And when I heard that, I went, no, you got to adjust to me. And I said, you can either get me up off the floor or you can help me out of this bed, but either way, I'm getting up. And there's video of me hobbling around this room, still connected to the wall. I have 2 IV stands and a box filled with my fucking blood. And I'm walking around with garden hoses coming out of my side, doing laps around there. And I started doing laps. As soon as they disconnected me from the wall, I would do laps around my room until they disconnected me from the vacuum on the wall. And that was about 24 hours. And then I started doing laps around the nurse's station. So it's about 300-400 meters, I'm guessing. And I mean, they called security on me because they were like, you're going to be in the way. And I go, this is a 10-foot wide hallway. I'm not an invalid and I'm getting the fuck out of the way. And I have common sense that if something happens and there's a code, I'm just going to glue myself to the wall and wait till you guys go by. Like, fuck, I'm not an idiot. Like, I'm not an idiot. I'm not like going to kick my IV stand in front of him and like, haha, like, fuck, like, really? So, and even the security guard, he comes and he goes, no, he goes, bro, he goes, I don't even know what happened to you. He says, but you're inspiring me. And he gave me a fist bump and he left. And I would just do lap after lap. I'd wipe off their whiteboard in my room and I'd write down my oxygen stats and how many laps I did.
Wow.
The first time I did a lap with my wife out in the hallway, I could only walk about 30 feet and my sats would crash and I had to stop because I started like, I'm like getting dizzy and I would crash like 60, 55, 60%. I have to wait, another few steps, have to wait. By the end, I'm literally just lap after lap after lap after lap after lap. Because I wanted to get out of there. They said I was going to be there for 14 days. I was home in 7.
So let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
What do you feel like? So for people who find themselves in chronic pain, chronic illness, autoimmune diseases, injuries, surgeries, all the shit, cancer, you know, there's kind of this common theme of like having awareness and taking ownership. Right. And like distinguishing between like, is this the bitch voice or is this a body voice? Is this a good voice or is this a bad voice? Is this like the motivator or the, you know, one that says like, sit the fuck down, you deserve to stay there.
Yeah.
What type of like advice would you give to someone who may not have that mentality now, but might be to a point where they're so frustrated or in their treatment or in their just kind of journey to adopt and implement, right? Execute that type of behavior so that they can take control of what is happening, even on the days where, you know, their body is like, you know, let's say like chronic illness, inflammation, bursitis, or something like that, where it's like, no, sit the fuck down, motherfucker. We're not going anywhere. This hip doesn't work that way. Do you think it's like setting those measurable goals and like, kind of like you said, like we went 30 feet. I understand what my oxygen is. Tomorrow I'm going to try 31 feet. Is it?
It's stacking wins. It's the best thing I can say. Is the biggest contributor to any success I've ever had, and I still have, are the same 2 things. Number one is I take away all my options. I don't give myself options ever. I don't have options. If I say I'm going to do it, that's the drawback to most people is they go, I'm giving myself an option that if I go, well, if it doesn't quite work, I can quickly validate why it didn't. And it's okay though this time. I never allow it to be okay, ever. That goes back to never missing. It's exactly what I said, where you look at your life, where you're struggling, it's where you are missing and where you are playing safe. So you stack wins, which is the whole reason why I do what I do every day. Is I go, I'm going to stack wins, even if it fucking kills me. The other day I was hacking up a lung outside and only one, like I'm running on one fucking cylinder and I'm coughing away. And one of my followers is like, dude, are you coughing? I'm like, yup. You're still out there doing that? Yup. I just took longer. I still did the same reps, the same movements, because otherwise, if I don't, number one, I'm a fucking liar. Yeah. I'm a fraud. And number two is I lose credibility in myself. Do you have any idea how fast that cascades?
Yeah.
It's so easy to grab onto that negativity and then just drop down. I will not, I run at such a high frequency. I vibrate so fucking high that it is obnoxious to be around me. If you are anything other than that, you will either do one of two things. You either change or you will leave. Because I make it so obnoxious. Like I'm so fucking offensive when it's like somebody's around me because they're like, holy shit, this guy is like intense. I'm not intense. You just can't handle my energy. Mm-hmm. And I'm coming at you with everything I got.
Yeah, and honest in who you are and like able to express that because you fully understand that.
Sure. And I think that's where people get weak is they look external to describe who they are, what they are, and what's going on with themselves. But it is never an external problem. That is the first mistake, is to look externally for an internal problem. And it's very easy to go, well, yeah, but you don't understand. I have Crohn's, or I have, cancer, or I have a headache, or I have a cold. It's still inside you.
Mm-hmm.
Like when people talk to me about depression, it just causes all kinds of fucking catastrophe because nobody likes my definition. But I don't care because you can't catch it.
What's your definition? Let's hear it.
It's the most selfish fucking disease on the planet. It's selfish as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
If you went inside somebody's head that has depression, I'm going to get all kinds of hate for this. I don't care because it's true. And here's why I know. Accountability sounds like an attack to those hiding behind their excuses. 100% of the time. Because I've been on the other side of this equation.
Mm-hmm.
I've been that bitch ass guy that's been like, no, but you don't understand my circumstances. Clearly, you've never had that. But you know what the answer to just about everything is? Exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Get out and fucking move. I guarantee you, you will not have time to feel shitty. You will not have time to feel. Most people, when they get anxiety, you just pounded a bunch of carbs. Go outside. You just smashed a fucking bowl of Fruit Loops, chased it with milk, and then what? Pounded a donut while you're walking out the door to get your white chocolate mocha? Holy shit, I would lose my mind. Right? But if you look inside the mind of a depressed person, it's about me, and I don't get this, and I can't do that, and I'm not living this way, and I'm not living that. It's a selfish fucking disease. Go out and start serving other people. All of that will go away. Mm-hmm. Because if you go back, this is always the most irritating conversation of people because they're like, this fucking guy. Yeah, how dare he? Yeah, I don't care. Because I give zero fucks about anyone else's opinion about my life more than my opinion about my life. And that's where everybody should be. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're seeking that acceptance, like I said at the beginning of the podcast. Mm-hmm. But I think what people struggle with is being able to stand up and go, he's right, and look at themselves in the mirror and go, I don't admire that man. I don't admire that woman. Mm-hmm. And that's where it begins. Look in the mirror and go, do I really admire the person looking back to me? And if the answer is no, fucking change it. But it doesn't come from a bottle. It doesn't come from what, you're going to spend a year in therapy, keep rehashing your problems? Mm-hmm. Go out and do something different. To become different, you have to do different. It is as binary as it gets. And yet people go, well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to do more of it. You're never going to get better. And the society rewards complacency. It rewards addiction. People are addicted to their fucking screen because they run at such a superficial level with this entitlement that they're supposed to get everything from everybody. And when they don't, they demand that everyone feels sorry. And yet, if you take away their cell phone, poof, they go nuts because they don't know how to be themselves because they're so used to being distracted. It's like a heroin addiction. Mm-hmm. So they are constantly bombarded by distraction. And yet that's not the problem. The problem is they've never looked inside themselves and gone, who am I? And how do I become the best damn version of myself and what's required? What is demanded of me to reach the level that I want to attain? If you do not look at that, you're never going to get there. Mm-hmm. But people look at it and go, what can I take to get to where I want to go? What do I give? What do I fucking give to get to where I want to go? Mm-hmm. The more output you have, the more you get. Like my friend Bedros Koulian, right? He's one of my best friends. And he always says the same thing. Life is a mirror, motherfucker, not a window. It always is showing. If you don't like what you're seeing in somebody else, that's just you being reflected back at you. And if you can disagree all you want, but inside their head, they're like, fuck, I hate it. He's right. I know I'm right. And most people will fight with that, right? They'll go to war against that because, no, you don't understand. That guy's an asshole. You're an asshole. Because you attracted them. You attract your circle. Mm-hmm. Like you're a badass human being. You got great energy. Well, you would never have me on this show if I was this selfish fucking prick that just didn't you'd never have me here. Mm-hmm. That's how people operate. You attract everything in your circle and they don't want to admit that. So they go, it's their fault. Mm-hmm. You know, Uncle G, man, Grant Cardone, it's my fault. It's my fault. And the minute you say that, you can control it. When you say, if I went, oh, Alex, it's your fault. I can't control you, so I'm out. But it takes the onus off of me, but it also takes away my ability to control the circumstances, mm-hmm. which means I'm fucked, right? So I think what people need to do is start stacking wins. Create a morning routine, allow zero option, zero, no matter what. I don't care if you're fucking bleeding out of your eye socket. You make sure you do it. That, we don't negotiate when we train. I will drop everything. If this podcast was right in the middle of when we train, I'll be like, I got to go. because you have to be that linear. If you allow soft in your world, you are soft.
Mm-hmm. Well, and understanding too, like breaking it down to the foundation of like, where are your values at? You know what I mean? Like you say you're an honest person, but do you do honest things? You say you're a hard worker, do you fucking work hard? You say that you're, this, that, and the other. And
that one right there. You say you're a hard worker, do you work hard? So many people, they come home, oh, babe, I had such a hard day. Tell the fucking truth. You spent half your day surfing through social media. You didn't sell a fucking thing. You got to work late. Your coffee wasn't ready. You missed lunch and you sat there by the water cooler talking about all the shit you wish you had. Then you came home exhausted and told your wife you worked super
well,
hard.
Then we wonder why we feel powerless, right?
Well, that's what you're creating.
We gave that power away. We said it's going to the coffee that's cold. It's going to the me not waking up on time. It's going.
That's their struggle.
Yeah.
That's their struggle. Your struggle is that the t-shirt you ordered didn't fit. That's not struggle. And I look for struggle. I need it. People look at me, they go, dude, that's fucking weird. Dude, I need the struggle every day. Because I came home and my wife, when we came home from the hospital, she goes, what do you want to do? And I said, I hugged my daughter, my son. I have a 13-year-old son, a 16-year-old daughter. I love my kids. Fucking amazing. And my wife, she literally she supports the fuck out of me and the same me to her. Just badass. What do you want to do? And I said, I want to work out. And all I could do is walk. I couldn't do anything else, right? I had these giant incisions, 6 of them all over my body on the left side. Mm-hmm. And the first time I turned upside down to do a handstand push-up, I thought I was going to die. I felt like I was going to suffocate. Instantly felt like I couldn't do anything. I was like, it was brutal. But I was like, don't you dare get off that fucking wall. And I stayed there until I could breathe. Mm-hmm. And everything inside me was screaming, get the fuck off this wall. You're going to die. And I did one, got off the wall.
Well, and that's an important thing. I think that, we have this conversation, or I have this conversation a lot about if you don't want to feel this way, if you don't want to be this person, if you don't want to be at this place in your life ever again, you don't have to. You do not have to be this way ever again in your life, but you have to look in the mirror and say, I fucking am this way. This is me. This is the shit show of me, or the shit show of this problem, or this relationship, or this job, or this reality, my financial situation, whatever you're facing. They have to A, look in the mirror, and then B, be like, yeah, I am powerful enough to never, ever have to be here again, to never, ever be this person
again.
You
need to make a decision.
But once you make a decision, you have to, cool, you made a choice, but
never go back.
What happens after that? Yeah. And like you're saying, you can't go back. And sometimes I call them these epiphanies, where it's you're so sick of your own shit that you're like, I'm done. I'm going to throw this all away and fucking do something different. And that's where you mentioned options, not having options. And it's options give you the opportunity to opt out. Mm-hmm. Right. But what happens?
The opportunity to quit.
Yeah. What happens when you can't click close on the browser? Right. You have to sit there and look at whatever's on the thing. Whoops, you pulled up this. Well, watch it.
Too bad, motherfucker. That's what you're looking at.
Well, exactly. And it's so there's this idea of options that I think that you're presenting where it's opting out or opting in. Right. So just
all your options.
Opt out. Yeah.
If you do that, if you literally eliminate all the shit you shouldn't be doing, everything that you're like, I shouldn't be doing any of this. And all you're left with is what you must do. Mm-hmm. That is going to take you to where you want to go. If you just did that, you're going to be a completely different person in 12, 18 months. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which is why, like I said, when we came home, my wife goes, what do you want to do? I want to work out. So I strapped a Rogue strap to me, dropped it on my Fringe Sports sled. I put a 45 pound on there, and my driveway is a 400 meter, give or take, gravel circle. And I started walking, and she goes, what do you want me to do? I said, come get me when I collapse. Mm-hmm. And and she did. I collapsed. She walked me back into the house because I couldn't walk. And I've never missed since.
Well, I think what people might take away from this, you might be listening there, hopefully not, but maybe some people out there, you might be looking at it and be like, oh, this guy's fucking batshit crazy. I'm not going to go till I pass out. Well, your 100% might look different than his 100%.
Correct.
Mine does too. And so, if you find yourself in these positions, and you can speak more to this, but, if you find yourself where you are applying yourself, no matter what it is, what that level is, what is your 100%? What is your best effort? And you mentioned the idea of hopping around the gym and going, oh, I'm going to try this. And no, I'm going to try that. What if you just tried it as best you could and you only move 10 pounds? That's great. That's great. You don't need that measure of comparison, which is like this theme we keep coming back to. And that
dialogue. The theme of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, because like his, Trevor's, I'm going to collapse on the ground might be I got to the gym and I put my hand on the rope.
Because you've never done it before. Mm-hmm. As long as you outdo what you did yesterday, there's only two things I think everybody can. It is literally makes you unstoppable. Outwork yesterday and do everything you said you were going to do. Now, those two married together, like every night, I call it my GSD, get shit done. And it's this leather journal. And I write down all the things I'm going to do the next day. I put the next day's date on it. And I write down everything. Even like I wake up energized, healthy, strong, like all that stuff. I write all of that in there. But like, again, all the things I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. And then I get up the next day. That's the first thing I look at because it reminds me, okay, this is all the stuff. And I will stay up till 4 a.m. If I look at that list and I go, fuck, Alex, there's still 2 things left on this list and it's midnight, too fucking bad, finish it. Mm-hmm. Because if I allow myself an option, I'm going to let myself have more and more of those options, right? And I think what people need to do is look at themselves and go, okay, but you don't understand. I can't figure this out, or it's really hard for me. No, it's not. And here's the proof. Because when you were a fucking toddler, you ping-ponged your dome off of coffee tables and end tables and nightstands, learning to fucking walk. Did you quit? Did your parents go, no, little Timmy, you better not walk today? Fuck that. You're walking. That's why most of the population walks. But you know what we do is you catch the ability to quit. You catch complacency. It's not taught. You catch it like a fucking disease. And you catch validation. You catch justification. And it's a very ugly mind disease to get rid of because you're surrounded by it. Mm-hmm. So when somebody's like, well, I did my best, my brain always goes to the movie, The Rock. Seriously, Sean Connery, he goes, you're best. Losers are always whining about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. and the Nicolas Cage goes, Carla was the prom queen. I look at that and I go, what's your best? Because your best is going to be defined by the circumstances you're in. Because if you are, so I'm always really careful about that. Because if I look at my wife and God forbid something catastrophic happens and I go, well, I tried my best, or am I willing to fucking die for it? Mm-hmm. That's the defining line. Because if you are going to do anything less than everything you've got, you're not doing your best. Mm-hmm. And people look at that and go, well, how can you say that about writing a book? Or how can you say that about, going to the gym? Could you have done a little more? If the answer is yes, then you didn't do your best. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I don't know how you train, but obviously you train like fucking crazy. So that being said, you're not going to half-ass the gym. I don't know how, but I've done this so many times that I do not know how to be less. Mm-hmm. Because 20 months ago, I went in and I was not the same person. I came out a different man because I didn't have a choice. Because I asked for the test and the lessons got bigger and bigger and uglier. This lesson cost me a fucking lung. Mm-hmm. I don't get another shot at this. The next lesson is going to be the lesson for everybody else because I'm going to be dead. So I'm not willing to take that chance. So I just give everything I've got every day.
Mm-hmm. Well, it kind of makes me question, think of this idea of like what happened to the self-made man or the self-made woman, right? And asking these questions, and maybe you can shed some insight on this. Like, is it an inherent, or do you believe it's an inherent trait to work hard, or is that something we develop? Right? Like you just said, ping pong in your noggin all over the, floor and all this shit. But
born with it. You're born not quitting. You're born not to quit. You catch the quit. Mm-hmm. You catch the quit. You're born completely unstoppable.
Yeah.
Take something, find a toddler who doesn't even walk yet, and put it just out of reach and put all kinds of shit in their way. They will literally never quit until they either run out of gas or just scream their fucking head off. I got 2 kids. I know how they are. They're relentless. The best salespeople on earth are children, right? Mm-hmm. And so people, they fail by their own limitations. You fail by your own fucking ceiling, but that ceiling was placed there by somebody else.
Well, it's like that idea of like failing by design. right? So you look at kind of the issue that we went through, the health issue we as a country and world went through,
Right.
And kind of like those, like the handouts and the dependency and how it changed things. And it's like that is failing by design, right? Because at some point we're all given that choice, and this is what we talked about in the very beginning. If you're given that opportunity, we're all kind of given opportunities, but to the extent, what are you going to do with that, and where does that choice go, right? And that's kind of where this, I don't know, you probably don't focus on it or watch it a whole lot, or maybe you do, but you know, this idea and this theme that like I am deserving, I am, oh well, I got this and I make more money not doing that, so I'm not going to go to work, or I'm only going to work halfway, or I'm only going to live this, and ultimately like that's a choice, this half-ass lifestyle.
Yeah,
right? Mm-hmm.
And those are the people that look at everybody else. Like these are the, like, fuck, I show up every day, Alex, every fucking day, all the time. I do the work. I give everything I've got. I will bleed every fucking day. I will never miss. And people go, that's arrogant. I go, no, it's fucking fact. But I show up every day. I am not humble about it, because I think I am humble to one person, God, and that's it. I think humble is putting someone else's opinion of you above yourself. I think that's weak. I said, but this, I'm fucking jacked and fit, and I run every day with one lung. I run a mile. They said I would never do it. Fuck you. I do it every day, Doc, if you're watching. Like all of that shit. And you know what? People go, dude, you're pretty superficial and egotistical. So let me get this straight. You do none of the work. You think your opinion matters and you deserve everything, but you do nothing. And you expect the trophy. And I'm egotistical? Fuck. Seriously. Get out of here, motherfucker. That ain't true. And that's what I see, is that is the entitlement. Well, I deserve it. You deserve what you put into it. You deserve exactly what you put into it. If you are a shitbag, that's what you deserve. You can change it anytime by your decisions. And people don't want to have that responsibility because it's easier to put it on someone else. And it goes right back to what I was saying. Well, yeah, but you have that because you're lucky. Like, holy shit, I have a friend of mine. He's got no legs, one arm, and a finger like this, Nick. And people look at him and go, well, yeah, but he's lucky. He has all those disabilities. Of course, people are going to give him money. What? Are you fucking high? So let me get this straight. You can have adversity, and that's why you're successful. You can have no adversity, and that's why you're successful. Where the fuck are you? Like, these are the people that give you advice, though, right? They come out and they go, listen, Alex, let me tell you what I think you should be doing, right? And this is important. I want you to understand this. And they sit outside the gym and they have conversations holding a cheeseburger. They've been going there for 5 years. They still look the same. And they come up to you and they give you advice about how can you know so much and suck so fucking bad? Like, I don't get it.
I'm not laughing. I hear that one. I get that one a lot.
How the fuck can you know so much and still suck? And we see it all the time because they feel they're entitled to give you their opinion. Listen, you can have your opinion all you want. You can be as offended as fuck about me. I am offensive and good because I tell the truth. You might not like it and you might come at me and attack me for it. I don't really care because I'm still going to go, yeah, but it's the truth. Like I said, accountability feels like an attack to those who hide behind their excuses. It will forever. So if people look at their life and go, well, yeah, but I deserve that. You deserve what you put into it. And then their follow-up always, it's never going to be someone like you or I. It's never going to be someone who's putting in the grind. Well, yeah, but I've been grinding for 20 years. I still haven't had anything. You're not ready yet. Then you don't think you deserve it, or you're missing something. Look at your own life and go, where am I missing? What are the conversations you're having with yourself? Because it is an internal problem, not an external problem. And the minute you understand that, you will level up so fast. But you have to get it. That what you think, how you do anything is how you do everything. And people don't want to admit that. But it's the truth. You know? And like they'll argue to get more sleep. Well, you know, but Dr. So-and-so says I should get 8 hours of sleep. So, too bad. If I'm up till 4 a.m. and I get up at 6, I'm getting 2 hours of sleep. Why? Because I'm not going to miss. Because if I allow myself to miss by making an excuse, I'm falling back on options. You know what a wolf does every time they get up? They go do wolf shit. They don't go, oh, fuck, I killed that deer yesterday. And you know what, Larry, I'm gonna take today off. I'm gonna just take.
I'm not gonna eat it.
Yeah, like they're gonna get up and do the same fucking thing every day. They don't have another switch. Human beings are the only ones that have that switch, and we catch it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we're born unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and it's like going back to the idea of how you do anything is how you do everything. I mean, that's something we say here at the office all the time, and it's like, but it's not just at the office. You know what I mean? Like how you do anything, it's how you do everything. That mirror does not lie when you look in it. You can't like.
The body doesn't lie about discipline. Bank accounts don't lie about discipline. Marriages don't lie about discipline. And I don't give a fuck if someone makes mistakes. That's where people screw up. They're like, I made a comment about haters one time. And they're like, this guy goes, the lack of accountability here is appalling. I go, why would I don't give a fuck about my mistakes if I've made it right. I don't give a shit. Why would I dwell on any mistake? You're going to do it for me anyway. Why the fuck do I care? Number one. But number two is I cannot unring that bell. What I can do is become a better version of myself because of it and never do that again. That is what makes a man, a woman, a strong human being, is not looking back going, yeah, but I did that. And everybody's reminding me of that. The motherfuckers that are reminding you of it are the ones who don't want you to win because they're afraid they're going to be left behind. People only see you according to two areas in your life, two lenses, your position in their life and their position in yours. And if either one of those change where you start to increase your position, they do anything they can to bring you back down.
Mm-hmm. And being self-made isn't like just in the sense of business. Being self-made isn't in the sense of like, it's everything. It's your character. It's your integrity. It's how you treat people. It's how loyal you are in a relationship. It's, you know, whatever you're doing is to be self-made in those areas that maybe you are more successful. But like, let's say you just crush at your job, but you suck ass at your health. It's like kind of goes back.
Then you're losing. I look at that as you're losing.
Well, you're just losing for yourself.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, we all take that home. Ultimately, you know, there's that idea of we drink the poison and expect somebody else to die.
Fuck. Destroys the vessel it's stored in every time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's this idea, I think one of the biggest things we can take out of like this podcast, like if the very simple things is like match the goals to the behavior, right? That's how you said that. Is that true?
Yeah. Change the goals or change the behaviors is what I said. So if you have a big ambitious goal, which they should be, your goals should scare the fuck out of you and all your friends should try and talk you out of them. I shit you not. If your goals aren't that, you have weak, impotent, fucked up goals. But if you have a goal that you're like, holy shit, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to figure it out. Bring your vision should be so big. You're going to face every test because the universe and God are going to throw everything to God at you to go, show me, motherfucker, then show me. And if you bring up your output to reach that vision, that goal, you're unstoppable. But what everybody does is brings down their goal. They diminish their vision so they can meet their low output. That doesn't help anybody. And then you spend your life bitter, blaming everybody else. You come to the end of your days, hate what you've done. I couldn't live like that.
No, and like living in that growth mindset, you know, and understand
across the board, Alex.
Yeah.
Like if you're not winning in every arena, you're not winning. I don't believe that at all. If somebody is if they're fat, but they're rich and they have a shitty marriage, you're not winning. If you're super fit, but you're broke and you have a great marriage, still not winning. You got to win across the board. That's success to me. And people go, well, you got to have balance. Fuck balance. You want to be I'm as unstable as it gets. Good. Because I'm going to keep pushing. I want a better marriage every day. I want to be a better dad every day. I want to be a better CEO every day. I want to be more fit every day. But I wake up, I don't have a white sheet of paper here, otherwise I'd hold it up. But I wake up every day with a blank slate. Mm-hmm. You do not wake up in the morning entitled to fuck all. I earn being a dad. I earn being a CEO. I earn being a husband. I earn this every day because yesterday doesn't fucking matter. I give a shit if you won yesterday, win today. Right.
And you're not the type of person who surrounds themselves with people who challenge that in a negative, in the sense, not in the negative sense, but challenge that in a way of like, oh, well, I'm not like that. Oh, well, I can't do that. I don't understand you. I don't need to be like none of that is a topic of conversation because you can't even be around those people because there's a saying of you're
it's
either
a choice.
Well, yeah, and you're either with me. What is it? You're with me. You're by my side, or you're in my fucking way.
Yep.
Right.
And I will mow you the fuck down.
And yeah, and it's like if someone's in your way, like you can for sure be like, hey, dude, you want to kind of like be next to me? And like if they can't, then get out of the way. Yep. And it's if you start to kind of lose some friends, you're probably doing the right thing.
You will lose friends.
Mm-hmm.
And lose friends.
Like, pissing some people off, probably doing the right thing.
Yep. Like if you have haters, you're doing it right. I love haters. Haters make me so fucking much money because they talk about me for free. Haters make me rich. It's ridiculous. I don't even get it. They're like, they go out, they tell 20 people to hate on me. They're like, look at this fucking arrogant prick. Who the hell does he think he is? I don't really care. I got one lung, motherfucker, and I'm still crushing. You know why? Because I don't quit. Don't quit. And they go tell all their friends, 15 of their friends go and buy my shit or ask me to help them. But that's how it should be. Listen, if you're dropping hate on anybody's feed, it doesn't hurt them, it hurts you.
You're drinking that poison.
You are fucking, absolutely, you're such a miserable fuck. Why the hell would you ever sit there and think, do you think like people have a right to go out and go and hate on people? What the fuck is wrong with you? That means you look at your life and you hate where you are and you want to spread it around. Dude, keep that shit to yourself, because you look in the mirror and go, I hate who I am, then change it. And if you don't know how, find somebody who's living the life you want, literally down to the line, and then ask them for help. And if they go, pay me, write them the fucking check. All you cheap motherfuckers go, oh yeah, but I can Google it for free. Why haven't you? Right? Like, why haven't you?
It was going to work. If you could do it on your own, why haven't you already?
Exactly. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? Except the issue is, Alex, you and I know working out isn't hard. It's committed. I get people all the time like, dude, I'm not nearly as tough as you. You're tough as fuck, Trevor. I'm not tough at all. I'm committed as fuck, though. I will see it through no matter what. But that took me coming out of the hospital and going, fuck, I got to do this. You know, it took me 12 months. 3 months in, I'm waking up in the morning going, I don't know how I'm going to pull this off today. How am I going to be able to run? How am I going to be able to put on muscle? I don't know if I'm ever going to do this. 6 months in, a little better. 9 months in, a little better. 12 months in, holy fuck, I'm a completely different person. I'm never going back.
Well, and that's like
I'm going to tell everybody.
Yeah. And that's, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
But it's like the motive behind the motivation, right? Motive is that root word of motivation. And so often it's like, oh, fuck, man, Trevor, I'm not motivated. I'm not motivated to go to work. I'm not motivated. Husband, eat shit. Here's a shit sandwich. Eat your motivation.
Take a big bite, motherfucker. Like, motivation is bullshit. I'm never motivated, ever. That's like people go, well, yeah, but this guy, I've had people say, this guy's clearly hurt. He's not happy. Happy? I love the shit out of my life, but happy is the worst metric ever to gauge your success. It has nothing to do with your success. You know what has to do with your success? Your results. That's it. There's no emotion in success. It is just literally a metric. Are you doing better or not? Happiness is not a metric for success. It is a personal thing. And holy shit, if I only did things when I felt like doing them, Alex, I'd still be in a wheelchair. Yeah. Every day, I shit you not, every day, I struggled at the beginning where I would put myself in a place where I felt like I was going to suffocate to death. I actually did. I remember getting off the Airdyne. We had an air conditioning guy come out and work on our AC. It was like, it's 100 degrees outside, 90% humidity here in Texas. And I'm on the Airdyne and I went at it full throttle. My son, my daughter, my wife were outside. The AC guy was coming. I didn't know when he was going to show up. And I got off. And you know how an Airdyne is. It doesn't hit until about 20 seconds after you get off. And then you think you're going to fucking die. Well, imagine doing that with one lung and 3 months after thoracic surgery. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy fuck. And I went inside because I needed cool, dry air. I couldn't breathe that humid air. And I was on the floor. And I went to war with myself every single day, Alex, about going, just breathe. Because I thought I was going to die. Every time for 6 months, I thought I was going to die when I would exert myself. And on purpose, I put myself there until eventually I went, you got this. You're going to get through it. And then it just a little further. You got to be able to get uncomfortable and just be like, oh, I'm going to fucking gut it out. Because if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to succeed because you have to be comfortable with discomfort. And I went all the way in on that. And the AC guy, I guess, had been coming into the garage, into our fitness studio, as I got off the Airdyne and ran into the house.
He's like, this dude's dying. You're like, yeah, I am.
Brandy thought I was letting him in. So he followed in about 10. She didn't know because, I mean, she'd seen me struggle a lot of times, right? But she's so great. Like, she's literally dropped everything when I lost my shit and I'm crying and I'm using 5-pound dumbbells, just frustrated. And she's fucking amazing. And I'm in he walks in probably 10 feet behind me. I'm on the floor, literally like gasping and having a conversation in my head going, one more breath, one more breath, one more breath. Like that's literally what I would say. One more breath. And I hear this, dude, are you okay? And I'm literally like, and I turn around, I was like, air conditioning's upstairs, right? Like go up into the second floor. And I realized, holy fuck, right? Like, and I came back outside and I go, did you know the AC guy was here? And she goes, yeah, I thought you were letting him in. And I go, no, I couldn't breathe. And she goes, oh my God, I'm sorry. I go, no. She goes, I thought you were getting off just to let him in. I'm like, no, I was done.
Actually.
But it was every day, Alex. And I knew it was coming. I knew this. I knew when it was coming. And I used to train with a sat monitor all the time. And I'd watch my sats just go boom right into the ground every time and then come back up. But I just kept telling myself, you know what? Like I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm successful. I'm powerful. I'm covered in muscle. My lung works for the capacity of 2. And I made a video one time where I did I inhaled and exhaled, right? Inhalation, expiration on a meter, a volume meter, right? And it was like 4,800 cc's. I know people that can't do that with 2 lungs.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, holy fuck. And even my buddy, this guy, Dr. Uchi, he's like, dude, that's crazy. I go, because I will not quit.
Yeah.
I will not quit. The first time I ran, I mean, I couldn't walk to the bathroom without being out of breath.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I had sex with my wife with an oxygen machine on, cannulas.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to stop. Like those are like, people don't get that, but I'm like, do you understand? Like my wife is my best friend, but there's so many facets to my life that people just see the surface. But I'm like, I couldn't play with my kids. I couldn't go for a walk. I couldn't go outside. I used to walk around because we live out in the cuts with our shotgun, just because it was weight and you know, there's coyotes and shit out there. But I was like, I'm walking around and I would get tired carrying it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an 8-pound gun. Didn't matter. I would struggle. I'd have to hand it to my wife because go ahead.
No, go ahead.
But I kept doing it anyway. But there's all those little things that people don't see, right? And I went, I'm not going to stay like this. That's why I came up with this company. Because I went, you know what? Men and women need a place to go where they know they're going to get pushed. Well, I'm going to hype the fuck out of them, and I'm going to get them lit and give them all the ways to succeed. And then I will make them do it by standing behind them and going, more. Mm-hmm. Give me another one. More.
Well, enabling people to find their own self-respect and earn their own self-respect through trials and through adversity and through doing the hard shit. And like, you know, we all know how shitty it feels like not face it and not try, right? Because who has confidence at that point? You know what I mean? Who has? And then we choose all these little silly things that hurt us.
The distractors, right? Always the distractors.
So tell me more about the companies. Like, how do people find you? If people are like, this guy's hitting, I fucking love this guy. I love everything. I'm listening to this podcast and I feel like $1 million bucks, I'm going to go back out in the world. How do we, you know, capture that feeling and capture that empowerment and put that into action? How do people get in contact with you guys, with the companies, or you personally?
Oh, I'll tell you this. Join the Spartan Army. It's not a plug. I think everybody should anyway. But go to my Instagram at Smashwerks, right? Go to my YouTube, Smashwerks. I mean, I started everything by fixing injuries, right? I've been doing that for 7, 8, 9 years. Mm-hmm. But go there. The link has it. YouTube has it. Fucking email me. My cell phone is on there. You can text me. It's really me. Like, I'm always weird when people are like, dude, there's like over 1 million people that follow you. Why do you give out your cell number? Because I want to help them. Mm-hmm. Fucking weird when people are like, oh, I would never give my number out. Give it out. Then you don't want business. Fucking text me. Ask me. I will help you. You want to join the fastest and biggest growing company in the world for coaching? Call me. This is what we do. And I'm going to keep going with or without you. You know, so I want to bring people in to help them. You know, you look at my reviews, they're all 5 stars. Everybody loves what we do for a reason. And when people come in, like, call me, text me, go to my Instagram, go to my website, Spartan Army LLC.
Oh,
go there.
What's that? I was just going to plug for our audio listeners. It's at SMASH, so Smash, and then Works is spelled at WERX. So make sure that you're hitting the right Smashworks on there.
I've had so many people, ORKS, they're like, I can't find you. Or they go to some weird site, and I'm like, that ain't me, man.
It's like a plumbing company. You're like, no.
Yeah, I'm like, that ain't me at all, man. I don't know what that is.
I don't do plumbing.
Right? I'm like, I can help you, but I'm going to send you to someone else.
No.
Yeah, that's how you find me. Like, literally, just go on it. I am everywhere. If you look online, I'm everywhere.
Well, and you're accessible. you know,
Yeah.
and it most
You
likely,
should be there.
yeah. And I think one of those things that a lot of people aren't going to reach out unless they're, you know, they understand you or perceive you in a certain light. And so it's like
Sure.
until they're ready to perceive and understand themselves, oftentimes that alignment isn't going to be there. And that's where I think one of the things, you know, we've learned with Swolverine and the Swole Kitchen is like, you know, being very transparent in our values and being very straightforward and simple, you know, gets someone to understand this is or this isn't for me. I am ready to have a change in what I'm doing and what I'm taking or not. And if I'm not, this is not the company for me. We are not for everybody. You are not for everybody.
Nope.
But if there's somebody out there who is ready to take charge of themselves, ready to take charge of their behavior, their company, and you can speak to this more, then Smashworks and, you know, the Spartans way is probably going to be something that's really good for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we built the Spartan army. I'm like, I will build the most elite, badass motherfuckers, like just a group of killers. I said it before, to just like, they're going to earn the most. They're going to have the best marriages. They're going to be all jacked as fuck. They're going to love their life. And everybody's going to come up to them and go, what are you doing? How are you like that? Go here.
Well,
I want to build people like that.
And if you don't have that in your life, you guys, like, you've got to go find it. You just owe it to yourself to put yourself in a position where you have people around you that are going to fuel that type of lifestyle and that empowerment and that type of self-respect you are searching for and that fulfillment you're searching for. It's not all these fucking things. It's not just like all the bullshit and repetition and rethrow up this reel on social media.
Right.
Like, that might be cool. That might get what started, but that's not sustainable. And the cool part about the internet that I think we all kind of forget our social media is like the connection aspect of it. Connect with Trevor, connect with the community, connect with, you know, and whether it's Smashworks, whether it's us, if you start with Swolverine, maybe you end up at Smashworks. If Smashworks, you end up at Swolverine. These are two companies, and you're hearing from, I'm, you know, co-owner here, and Trevor is the owner. Like, we're here to empower people and we're here to make a difference. And then we're here to say, like, no, your bullshit story that you keep telling yourself, we're going to take that off a repeat. We're actually going to throw that all away. And we're going to give you an opportunity to invest in yourself and make decisions from a place of self-trust and empowerment so you can stop fucking pussing out on life and you can actually be happy and actually find sustainability.
Yeah,
because
choose that though, right? Like, and that's where it is, right? Like, you make the decision to become the best version of yourself, and anything less than that, you're doing a disservice, like, to the world. Like, you owe it to yourself to be the best version of yourself ever. Because right now you're the example. Somebody, you don't even know, somebody's looking at you and they are going to keep going or fucking quit based on your actions. And you don't even know that. If you are not going to be the best, if you're in your house and your kids are looking at you and you're all like, fucking, you're miserable and you're yelling at the TV and you're fucking fat and you hate the life and all you do is complain about your world and your kids are looking at that, fucking shame on you. Like, what are you doing? Because you are creating the next level of those people. Forget it. Hang around people that force you to play up.
There we go. I think that's, I hope you guys have gotten as much out of this as I have personally. Trevor, it's been an honor to sit and talk with you. I understand how precious your time is. I thank you for sharing that with us. Make sure to go follow Trevor, Smashworks, WERX. Like we said, go join the Spartan Army. We will post this episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, we will post it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a few others for you. If you're on audio, you want to see Trevor's face, you want to see this like righteous beard that he has, go to the YouTube, the Swolverine YouTube, and check out that live recording. Here on the Swole Friends podcast, we love to go live with incredible individuals to bring you their knowledge, to let you sit in their corner and see inside the world that has made them successful. And so, Trevor, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you. Make sure you guys subscribe, and we'll chat with you guys next time.
Wicked. Thank you. Awesome.